Hello, you're watching Movie Snapshot Scenes, and this is the summary of Avatar 2009. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By the year 2154, people have long since left the limits of Earth. The world, which is full of greed and tiredness, looks to the stars for help, or more specifically, for resources. Pandora is a lush moon in the Alpha Centauri system that is very far away. It orbits the gas giant Polyphemus. There are tall trees, mountains that seem to float in the air, and a deep, living beauty that is hard to describe. But below its beautiful surface is unobtanium, a rare element that is worth millions of dollars per kilo, and that Earth needs very badly. Jake Sully, Sam Worthington, a former Marine who can only move around in a wheelchair, comes into this strange and beautiful world. His scientist twin brother was supposed to be a part of the Avatar program, a project that would let people connect their minds to genetically modified bodies that look like the Na'vi who live on Pandora. When Jake's brother is killed, he is given the chance to take his place. Not because he is smarter, but because his DNA fits the DNA of the Avatar body that has already been made. Getting back on his feet is his only way to find meaning in life. Jake stands up for the first time in years when he wakes up inside his image. He runs into the open forest, laughing at the freedom of movement he thought he had lost forever. He is tall and has blue skin. His senses are sharp, and he is connected to the energy of the earth. He is overwhelmed by Pandora's bioluminescent plants and animals, which are both beautiful and dangerous. It looks like the moon breathes. Jake's trip isn't just about being amazed, though. Colonel Miles Quaritch, Stephen Lang, a tough soldier who sees Pandora as a problem to be solved, is in charge of the human effort that he is a part of. The Colonel tells Jake that he will get new legs when he gets back to Earth if he helps him learn more about the Na'vi, especially about their tribe, the Omaticaya. Because he wants to be loyal and stay alive, Jake agrees to the task. He joins a group of scientists led by Dr. Grace Augustine, Sigourney Weaver, an incredibly smart xenobiologist who created the Avatar program so that they could study Pandora without too much trouble. Grace honors the Na'vi and thinks of their world as a holy place to live. She doesn't trust Jake's military past, but she agrees to help him. Through her, Jake learns that the Na'vi live in perfect balance with nature and are linked to all living things through a network of energy called Awa. But the forest has risks that no person could see coming. When Jake gets split from his team one night, he is being chased by dangerous animals. His only weapon is a knife and his gut. He runs through glowing forests until a young Na'vi woman named Neytiri, Zoe Saldaña, saves him. Her moves are smooth like the wind and her arrows fly straight. For now, she doesn't trust him. He's just another alien attacker to her. But this one is different. Awa seems to be watching as the lights in the trees flicker around them. Pandora's heart starts to beat faster as a link forms that will change the course of both of their lives. As dawn breaks over Pandora, light pours through the huge trees like gold liquid. The Na'vi, who are tall, thin, and wary, are all around Jake when he wakes up. The Omaticaya people stand in a half circle, and their glowing eyes look at this strange stranger with both suspicion and interest. In the middle is Atukan, who is the leader of the clan, and next to him is Moat, who is the spiritual mother. Her face is blank. Neytiri talks for him. Her voice is clear and strong. She talks about the glowing seeds of the sacred tree Awa that fell on Jake the night before and how the forest chose to spare him. Moat moves closer and looks at him. She whispers, "Maybe Awa has a plan for this one." She lets Jake stay, even though she knows it's not a good idea, as long as Neytiri watches him. Jake goes into the Na'vi world for the first time as a student, not as a soldier or spy. The group lives in Hometree, a huge building that stands hundreds of meters above the ground and is full of life and light inside. Every rock and plant feels like it's part of a bigger whole, a pulse that runs through the air. Jake starts his training with Neytiri's hesitant help. She shows him how to walk through the forest quietly and how to listen instead of telling things. She tells him, "You need to learn how to see. Look not with your eyes, but with your heart." At first, his human reflexes let him down, and he stumbles around, making noise and being clumsy. But every time he fails, something inside him changes. He learns how to behave like the Na'vi, like how to run along the high trees, climb without being scared, and accept the animals that live in their world. One lesson stands out above all the rest: Tsahelu, or connection. The Na'vi can connect directly to other living things through the neural tendrils in their hair. They merge their mind with the trees that they live in and the animals they ride. As a six-legged creature of grace and power, the dire horse is the first animal that Jake feels this link with. He gasps when the link forms because he doesn't feel control, but unity. He feels like he is part of Pandora for a moment. Colonel Quaritch and Parker Selfridge, the head of the company, are watching Jake's progress through video feeds from the human base, which is miles away. They don't see his increased ties to the Na'vi as enlightenment, but as a chance. Quote, "He lives in their world, and that makes him useful." Every report Jake sends back feels heavy and more complicated than the last. When he disconnects from his avatar at night, he wakes up in the cold metal of the human center. The air is clean and the walls are grey. He feels alive again every time he goes back to his Na'vi body, though. The difference is too much to bear. Neytiri starts to see a new side of him as the days go by. He is curious without being cocky, strong without being mean. There is a beat to the bioluminescent forest around them that makes them feel like they are okay. Jake was in the army when he came to Pandora. He is no longer fully human or fully Na'vi. Instead, he is changing into something else. And in that delicate balance, fate starts to take shape. As Jake's time with the Omaticaya goes on, days turn into weeks. What started as interest turns into a sense of belonging. He no longer sees his blue body as a character. It feels like him. Every time the sun rises on Pandora, the world of people goes away and is replaced by something freer and more pure. Neytiri keeps teaching him, but her tone changes from telling him what to do to being friendly. The animals no longer run away when Jake walks through the forest, and the plants seem to glow brighter when he does. But there is still one test that can tell who is a real Na'vi: the Iknimaya, which means mating with a banshee, or an ekran, which are the fierce, dragon-like creatures that rule Pandora's skies. To fly with one, you have to be okay with Awa. The practice is holy and dangerous. Few people can live without guts or grace. Neytiri takes Jake to the high hills of the Hallelujah Mountains, which are made up of huge rock islands that float in the air thanks to magnetic forces. Mist curls up around the sides of them like a veil of silver. There are no people or things below the streams. The group meets at the edge of the cliff, and the wind carries their chants away. Neytiri looks at Jake with a calm face and sharp eyes. She says with a small smile, "Pick one that will try to kill you. That's how you know it's yours." As Jake climbs up to the Ikran's nest, his heart is beating fast. Dozens of animals scream and flap their wings, making colors change like metal melting. He looks into the eyes of one that has green scales and yellow eyes that are raging with anger. It charges at him and snaps its teeth a few inches away. Jake tackles it quickly, but he has a hard time keeping control. He links his neural braid to the Tsahelu strands at the top of it. Everything stops for a second. The world goes away and is silent. Then Jake feels it. A rush of air, his heartbeats mixing, fear and excitement meeting in perfect balance. He climbs on top of it and whispers, "Let's fly." The Ikran jumps off the edge. Jake screams, but then he laughs because the wind is so loud. The animal jumps through the clouds and back into the sun. The sky around them opens up like an ocean. Neytiri joins him, and her banshee flies next to his. Not because she's proud, but because she's happy. She calls, "You're now one of us." From then on, Jake flies with the group. He joins them on their hunts, in their songs, and in their rites, all while the Tree of Souls branches light up. It's bright at night on Pandora, and every leaf and breath feels like it holds a memory of something that will last forever. But his other life is still waiting for him outside the forest. Colonel Quaritch gets antsy at the human base. The colonel says in a cold voice, "He's gone native, but that could be just what we need." The company is getting ready for its next move, which is to claim the land below Hometree, which is the Omaticaya's holy center. Jake, on the other hand, flies freely over Pandora's bright woods. He owns the sky. He owns the people. He feels like he has a home for the first time. Still, deep down, the greed of people starts to rise like a storm that will destroy everything they've grown to love. The Omaticaya are no longer living in peace. What seemed timeless at one point is now shaking from the weight of engines and metal. From above Pandora, human ships float like birds through the air. These are survey ships looking for unobtanium in the forests. For the Na'vi, the sound of their thrusters is a threat that can be heard in the trees. Jake sees it as a memory of a time and place he no longer lives in. That man is told to go back to the human camp by Colonel Quaritch. Jake feels smaller and heavier inside the cold metal walls. His blue freedom has been replaced by grey imprisonment. He is greeted by the colonel with the same tough grin. He tells him, "Son, you did a good job. Tell me what we need to know now." A map of Pandora seems to glow on the hologram screen. In the middle of the map is Hometree, the holy home of the Omaticaya. Jake isn't sure. He says in a low voice, "They'll never leave it." It's more than a house. It's their heart. Quaritch moves in closer. "Then we'll take their heart. As a gift, he gives Jake new legs, a new start, and a life back on Earth. The only thing Jake needs to do is help the Na'vi decide to move without violence. Before the bulldozers and rockets show up." Jake nods, but his chest gets tight. He learned to hear in the forest, and now all he can hear is guilt. The jungle feels different when he goes back to his image. The air smells like ash. He tries to tell Neytiri that the humans are coming, but she knows he's lying. She moves away and says, "You talk like them. They think like you." Still, Jake tries again. He tells the group that they need to leave Hometree because danger is coming. But what he says doesn't mean anything. The Na'vi thought that if they left the tree, they would be leaving Ewa, their elders, and the heart of their people. After that, the sky burns. Without notice, Quaritch's ships show up and drop bombs into the forest. Everything it touches is burned up by fire that spreads faster than the wind. The humans in metal suits move forward while the Na'vi spread out and try to save what they can. Jake's voice shakes on the radio as he says, "Stop this. You're killing them." The colonel doesn't care about him though. Neytiri goes into the chaos and finds her father, a toucan, stuck under some falling trees. He tells her to lead the people, but as the fires get stronger, he sneaks off. Hometree falls with a single loud crash, sending a wave of ash through the forest that sounds like the breath of a dying god. These people turn on Jake when he tries to talk to them. Neytiri says, "You did this." Tears are shining in the firelight. "You'll never be one of us." The link breaks. Once his home, the forest now turns its back on him. When he gets back to the metal base, it is quiet, and robots around him hum like heartbeats without life. Jake has lost his love, his tribe, and his faith, but there is still a spark inside. He doesn't want to walk on Earth anymore. He wants Pandora to pay him to fly. The forest that used to welcome Jake now screams his name at him. The Omaticaya have spread out, and their great home tree is now just smoke and ash. Neytiri won't let him see her, and the tribe doesn't want anything to do with the man who destroyed their holy land. Jake won't leave Pandora though. He knows deep down that forgiveness isn't something you just get, you have to work for it. Jake tries to make peace with the corporation with the help of Dr. Grace Augustine, who has also turned against them. They get away from the military base with the help of scientists Norm and Trudy. They fly toward the Tree of Souls, which was an old Na'vi refuge, but Grace gets hurt while they are running away. She is stuck between greed and freedom. They are able to get to the Omaticaya that are still alive, who reluctantly gather under the bioluminescent trees. Jake moves forward, but he isn't armed or protected. "I fought for the wrong people," he says. "I will now fight for you." But just words won't do. The Na'vi have seen too many men lie. Neytiri pulls away and her voice shakes. She says, "You can't teach us to trust. You need to prove it." That night, Jake does something that not many people have ever done. He tries the Toruk Makto. The Toruk, also called the Last Shadow, is the most feared animal in Pandora's skies. It is a huge predator that has only been tamed by the strongest Na'vi riders in history. To be in charge of it is to become famous. He goes up the Hallelujah Mountain's floating cliffs, where the wind cuts through the fog. As he looks down, he sees the huge creature circling below. Its wings are as wide as a storm, and its colors change from red to black. Jake sneaks up on it and jumps from above, landing on its back. The animal roars and thrashes around fiercely. He shouts, "I see you!" through the wind as he reaches out with his neural hair. The world stops breathing for a second. Next, make a link. The Toruk's eyes calm down, and its wings stay still. As they rise together into the clear sky, they cut through the clouds as lightning strikes the horizon of Pandora. Jake laughs, and the wind carries his voice. He is now both humans and Na'vi. He's free. The Omaticaya are amazed when they see him coming down on the back of the Toruk. It looks like a vision from the Bible. Neytiri looks up, her eyes wide with shock and pride at the same time. Jake lands smoothly, gets off his horse and kneels down in front of her. He says in a quiet voice, "I am one of you." The Na'vi bow down to him as they gather around him. The oldest soldiers all bow their heads. Neytiri moves toward him and puts her hand on his chest. She says in a whisper, You are Toruk Makto. Jake Sully stops being a stranger at that point. He stands for the man who picked the sky over the stars and acts as a link between two worlds. Still, the flames of war can be seen over the horizon. The humans are still taking over, and Pandora will soon have its last test. Now is not the time for peace. Now is the time to fight for Eywa. Jake stands in front of the Na'vi as Toruk Makto, the rider of the last shadow, a title that hasn't been used in generations. The Tree of Souls is glowing above him. As the people bow down to him, their faith is restored, and their mood changes from hopelessness to rebellion. As if the earth itself could hear, the air hums with the energy of Eywa. The holy grove is filled with Jake's words. He says, "The sky people are coming. They don't see you, they don't hear you. I agree with you though, and I will stand with you." He has a lot of support from the Na'vi, but they are not as strong as the humans. Gunships, walkers, and huge planes full of explosives are getting ready for war at the military base, ready to destroy Pandora's woods. Colonel Quaritch gives his men a cold speech about fighting to win and how important it is to do so. He sees the Na'vi only as things that stand in the way of people and money. Jake knows that they can't go up against a force that's strong by themselves. He gets on the Toruk and flies across Pandora to call the other clans. He meets tribes of all shapes and colors on the vast fields and floating mountains. The warriors are painted in red, green, and gold, and they ride banshees of all colors. Jake tells them, "The sky people will destroy everything, but we can protect Eywa if we fight together." The groups agree. The Na'vi become one group for the first time in Pandora's history. The army of the sky people moves forward as dawn breaks. A lot of gunships are in the sky, throwing dark shadows over the forest below. The Na'vi hide among the trees and rocks and wait in silence. The drums start beating slowly and rhythmically, like the heartbeat of the planet. Then the sky starts to move. Thousands of Ikran riders jump up and fly through enemy fire. Toxin-tipped arrows fly through the air and hit metal and glass. Bombs go off over the clouds like burning flowers. As the charge starts, Jake rides his Toruk through bullets and rockets to lead the way. Neytiri and the Omaticaya attack from the forest floor behind him, firing at armored vehicles with Pandoran animals like hammerhead titanotheres and packs of direwolves that crash into steel. It looks like the world is rising in protest, but people fight very hard. Gunships do a lot of damage, killing both trees and fighters. The fight gets really bad. Jake's headset crackles and it's Grace's voice. It's weak but determined. "Jake, Eywa doesn't pick a side," she says. She keeps things in check. After that, something strange happens. The forest wakes up. When Eywa calls out, the great beasts of Pandora rush into the fight. These are huge creatures that charge through flames and gunfire, flipping tanks over and crushing the invaders' lines. Things are changing. When Jake and Neytiri meet in the sky, they are flying next to each other, and their moves are perfectly in sync. They scream for Eywa and dive toward the enemy's command ship. The blast makes the sky bright with blue and gold light. As soon as the smoke clears, the Na'vi will have won. The last few humans are sent back to their dying world, which makes Pandora free again. Jake lands next to Neytiri, and the sound of the trees fills the air. The world can breathe again. The people of Pandora and one man born on Earth now have the same heartbeat for the first time. The fight is over. As the sun breaks through the jungle canopy, the smoke dissolves into the morning mist. Pandora, hurt but still alive, breathes again. The chants of victory ring out in the woods. Not of conquest, but of balance being restored. The Na'vi didn't want to kill the sky people. They wanted to safeguard Eywa, the great spirit that unites all living things. Jake Sully, who used to be a soldier on Earth, is now Toruk Makto, a protector of the land he used to plunder. But his heart is full of both joy and sadness. Many have died, including Dr. Grace Augustine, the woman who originally showed him that Pandora was not a tool, but a live person. Her sacrifice is like a whisper in the trees. The people who are still alive are led to their ships. Colonel Quaritch is dead, and his battle is over because a planet refused to bow. Jake watches the transports climb into the skies, leaving behind a silence that is both heavy and holy. People of Pandora now own it completely for the first time, but Jake's time as a human is running out. His link to the Avatar world is now more than just a technical one. It's spiritual and can't be broken. When he opens his human eyes within the cold metal base, the air feels dead and the gravity is too strong. His body is weak, feeble, and far away from the rhythm of life he has come to know. Neytiri is waiting for him at the Tree of Souls, surrounded by the tribe. The roots of the big tree shine with blue energy and pulse like veins of light. "It's time," she says. "You can't live in two worlds," Jake agrees. He lies down among the shimmering tendrils, his human body weak and pale next to the strong bulk of his Na'vi form. The crowds start to chant, a deep, harmonious hum that shakes the air. Neytiri kneels next to him and puts her hand over his heart. "I see you," she says, which is the most profound thing you can say in Na'vi. It means not just seeing someone, but also knowing them. Jake feels his mind sliding away as Ewa's energy surrounds him. It's not fading, it's combining. His memories come back to him. The war, the laughing, the flight through the skies, and the first moment his boots touched Pandora's earth. He can sense the planet's heartbeat lining up with his own. Then it got dark. Be quiet. When he wakes up, his eyes are no longer human. They are a deep gold color that is full of light. He takes his first breath as a real Na'vi, and the forest responds in kind, with every leaf shaking with electricity. Neytiri is crying, but she is smiling. "You're one of us now," she says. Jake stands up, taller than ever, and his new body seems like it belongs in the world around him. The bioluminescent branches of Ewa move softly in the wind above him, getting brighter as if the planet itself is welcoming its newest son. Pandora has found someone to guard it, and Jake Sully has finally found a place to live.